Revival of the steam engine brewery in Lobeč. Hello, welcome.
Tak obrázek tam zatím není.
Hello, good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation, for having the possibility to be with you for these 2 days. I'm always surprised by being given the floor. Now, our project is special, that's why I'm here. It's not only the revitalization of heritage, the investor is at the same time a designer and operator and constructor. It is the grassroots initiative by a couple of architects who decided 15 years ago that they will start a revitalization of an abandoned heritage. They decided to find out whether it is possible to save such heritage and revitalize it, and that's not the end. They also intended to maintain and operate this heritage.
Tak tohle je taková...
This is a kitsch, isn't it? You might say that it's a fetish, but this was to be at the end of my presentation, but I moved it to the beginning of the presentation because I want to say what is the purpose of this project, what makes it so unique and special. Our foreign guests, might not know that beer is a key commodity for Czechs. It is an inseparable part of our culture, and to save a historical brewery is very important for us. And this brewery is not unique because there would be some historical or artistic values contained in it. No, on the contrary, it is typical. And if you look around, it is a unique example of authentic, picturesque historical breweries in a historical landscape. And we don't have many of such historical seats. And what is its special feature? It has been restored as a heritage, and it is operated as a heritage. So where are we located? We are in central Bohemia, in Mělník district, 50 kilometers from Prague, at the border of Kokořínsko-Máchův kraj preserve in Lobeč. The zone or preservation zone was established some 10 years ago. It is a very small village, and Eduard Storch, a Czech writer, did some archaeological research and he investigated that there has been a very old settlement there. It is a set of village constructions, including a castle and chapel, and then the steam engine brewery in the valley. Let me touch upon its history. We do not know when it was established. The first written mention dates back to 1586. There were a few important owners. Albrecht of Wallenstein, he has confiscated Lobeč.
Toho tam symbolizuje jenom ten erb.
Following owner was an Irish mercenary who got it from the Kaiser because he did take part in the murder of Wallenstein. And the next owner is Prague Primas. He, coming from a noble family, he was a mayor of Prague, and he became a mayor after 1848 revolutionary events. It was a Renaissance brewery. Renaissance nobility took the relay from the cities and started to brew beer. And the ruler gave a right to the nobility to brew beer. And the nobility then laid fundament or started so many breweries in the Renaissance period. This slide shows that this brewery changed from the craft brewery into a steam engine industrial brewery. So the Renaissance layer was covered with another layer that is the steam engine layer, which is very interesting and valuable itself. These are the golden years after the steam engine introduction, before the First World War. The brewery didn't cope with the competition. The economic pressure has been too harsh. The steam engine only extended its operation by a few decades. In 1948, the brewery devastated under the administration of the state-owned agricultural farm, which started garages and repair shops there. The very high and beautiful windows were replaced by door fit for tractors and so on. There was a decay. And another date that is important is the year 2007. 15 years ago, we made a decision to purchase the Lobeč brewery. Me, or us, means me and my wife Jana. We are architects. We were 15 years younger in 2007. It was before the crisis, before the so-called crisis. The atmosphere has been more optimistic. In 2008, we would not have bought the brewery. We didn't have children in 2007. Our first child was born in 2008. So why did we buy it? It was our child's dream. We have the same dreams. When we visited the National Heritage Institute monuments with my parents, I dreamt about saving the monuments and taking care of them. This is what I tell to myself, what I repeat to myself every day. We wanted to leave Prague with my wife. We didn't want to live somewhere or had a weekend house. We wanted to do some culture, and we bought Lobeč. This is the original condition of a brewery. It was not nice, even inside. It was devastated intentionally. People used to steal construction elements from the it served as a cheap source of construction material to the inhabitants of the village. In 2007, in spring, we bought the brewery and we worked on our vision. We wanted to breathe in a new life into the brewery. We are a studio, we made some research, and we had some helping hands. We did clean the environment. We started a tradition of weekend works. People used to come and sleep there in sleeping bags after work. Yet another milestone is dated back to 2009. In cooperation with the National Heritage Institute, we agreed that based on the construction and historical research, which was the output of one stage of our research, we arrived at a conclusion that there are some elements that deserve preservation, that there are some Renaissance elements, and well, you can see the pink color. We did dendrochronology and so on. We had a lot of arguments, and the Ministry of Culture, I do not know why and how, but in 3 months' time, the Ministry of Culture has listed the Lobeč Brewery. We cooperate with the National Heritage Institute. This is Miss Vaňková, who is the owner of the project, if you will. We are partners, and in those 15 years, we are meeting on a monthly basis. We often table different opinions, but we always arrive at a consensus. We like it, and it's our joint project. This slide shows something I should have shown before. All that design and all that work. 2009, we started construction works in the brewery. We got a building permit in 2009 and started construction in a few weeks' time. So we started with roofs, and before.
Před tou vlastní stavební.
And before we started the construction, here we go. I want to say that it's not only the construction or reconstruction. We decided to use old strategies that worked very well. That is to approach the general public, local community, municipality. We have presented the brewery new purpose. They didn't want this ruin in their village. So we approached local community. We started to organize cultural events. We invited prominent guests.
Jsme tam zvát umělce,
artists, children. So the culture was rather alternative indeed, and the brewery started to live. The atmosphere changed completely, and we got a number of fans, supporters in the location, in the region, which helped us to foster further development. First tours, first exhibitions, first fair brewing, no more comments are needed. So we continued relentlessly, and there was no profit made whatsoever. We always used our own funding, which simply disappeared in a big black hole. But the project was noticed by the media, by the public media in particular, on the radio, and the topic started to resonate. Thanks to that, regional politicians noticed that we exist. Mr. Šimonek, the mayor who died last year, and the regional government helped us to get a financial subsidy by the regional government. They came, they took a microphone, made an opening speech and left, but helped us a lot. In 2009, we started the construction, the roofs of the back tract. Some of the roofs were non-existent. It was the reconstruction, and we did use the traditional carpentry, and it took 6 years to repair the roofs. If you don't repair a roof, you can't start with anything else. So this is not a presentation on the reconstruction. That would be much longer. We have returned the old details that were not there, but we used period photographs. We had a good source of information, so the geometrical structure of the photographs and comparison with the roof helped us to give it the historical shape. So the metal cover of the chimney was replaced by with a replica, excuse me. In 2011, we also repaired the chimney of the brewery, of the brew house to be precise. So we understood that the good quality
které vzali za své, nebo tam byla i trhlina.
Bricks were used only in the important places, and another critical moment in the restoration was a ceiling. Ceiling was stolen, so the carpenters returned a replica to the place of original ceiling with the decorative elements that were preserved in parts of the ceiling, and we could launch a facade renovation. In 2012, we decided to rehabilitate or renovate the facade, the envelope. We've added the historical industrial iron windows. The upper parts of the historical windows were maintained, and we were able to add the missing part, connect it with the original, and return the very high windows. The facade was renovated, and we found a Renaissance plaster. We have covered it with the lime cover, lime facade, and these are the first renovated interiors, the attic. And then in 2016 we started the renovation of the mold house, 3 mold houses. We looked for the remains of the barley dryer, and we have digitalized the results of our research, so they will be available in the future. We renovated the back tract and started to work in the interiors. And now you can see the route that we offer our visitors who can learn something about the history of brewing in Lobeč, in Kokořín area. So we tell them everything about the technology of brewing from Renaissance to the present system. And this is the Renaissance mold house. You can see all these technical equipment. In Renaissance, beer was brewed from
zažraná černá masnota
from wheat. So these are all the tanks and where the malt matured. You can see the black kitchen used to dry the malt. And this is our exhibition. We started to build an archive. There was no archive there. Now we've already have hundreds of items, photographs, documents, and equipment, be it the lager tanks or some brewing equipment, historical bottles, etc. The brewery has become a touristic landmark in 2015. We are not lagging behind the Kokořín Castle or Houska Castle. We are very popular, measured by mentions in the media. And then in 2015 we started a regular tourist tours. From May to October we organize tours twice a week or more frequently. During summer, visitors are coming, we are popular, we receive thousands of visitors. Children, minors simply come free of charge. And this is our logo, Erich. We have become a member of the European Route of Industrial Heritage, which is a kind of the international frame for our project. The revitalization of the heritage includes also the operation. We were forced by circumstances. It was not our plan to brew beer in Lobeč, but people used to come and tell us, oh, that's great, that's wonderful, and when will you start brewing? So it had to happen. In 2015, we got a project partner. Our know-how was insufficient for brewing beer. We can state today that the Lobeč Brewery is the only one of Mělník region historical breweries that is still in operation. And we are the biggest brewery in Mělník district. All the other breweries are smaller and new. Lobeč Brewery has got a production of almost 100,000 liters of beer on an annual basis. It looks like a lot, but we are still a mini brewery. It looks like a fairy tale, doesn't it? But brewing beer and selling beer outside brewery is not easy. Competition is fierce. It has always been, even in Renaissance times, and the world has globalized even in Kokořín area. In 25 kilometers distance from us, there is a Klášter brewery. It is a wonderful historical brewery, and the Chinese multinational group, which calls itself brewery, simply closed down the brewery. You can get it in a supermarket, but not in the monastery. Kotkovaň brewery in 15 kilometers distance is owned by a Russian oligarch who has not invested in the brewery, and it will simply stop its activities very soon. It's tragic. So we had to open a restaurant. We call it tap room, not a restaurant. It is built in the former brew house on the left picture. The technology has not sustained, but we show the customers how it used to look like. 2018, you can see that it was financially unfeasible, so only in 2018 we opened a restaurant. You want to have a goulash with your beer. So we decided to open a restaurant. In 2016, we also opened accommodation facilities. This is part of the building above the above the brew house, with water reservoirs from the end of the 19th century. They were so heavy that they couldn't be removed and stolen. So we took the lids, and we've created special bedrooms. So we used the very valuable and historical equipment. We gave it a new purpose. So you can see the roof windows. We used the polycarbonate windows. It was a non-invasive skylights. Some time after that, in 2018, we've extended the accommodation capacity because of the sustainability, because you have to pay the cooks and the food products and so on, and you have to earn the money somewhere. So here there's an entrance from the back. There are kitchens, and there are kind of independent accommodation units. Only 4 of them, 4 attic apartments for almost 30 beds. This is a topic dear to our heart. It is the environment of the brewery. We like greenery. It is a historical concept that we introduced. You can see hops, you can see historical varieties of trees, and you need a good quality gardening and maintenance. It's very demanding, I must say. And this is an important slide. Energy efficiency or sustainability. This is critical. We as a family, back in 2014, we sold our Davidsa apartment and used the money to develop our project. So we lived in the attic for two winters, excuse me, for 2 winters. It was really brutal. We understood that this is not sustainable. So the further projects and plans included sustainability, and we decided to implement the systems where feasible, where realistic from point of view of preservation. Well, to do the drills, the bores to 210 meters deep. We've got a floor heating there. We have inner insulation in the complex. We've got replicas of the windows. All the windows were stolen. And the insulation of the windows is made from the inside. And we've got a recuperation ventilation in one of the parts. So it's the floor heating, heating pump, and insulation of the ceiling, of course, and the roof. And now I'll tell you how much it did cost. So in the house there's our apartment, almost 200 square meters, heating, cooking, and so on, all in electricity. 1,700 crowns per month. This is what costs us, and it is a heritage, Renaissance building with walls thick 1 meter. So hereby I confirm the words of the Austrian speaker from yesterday. This is how it is with the heritage. The internal insulation calculated by the old dynamic models, it was to be 20 centimeters. We used 5 centimeters thick panels for insulation. And yet another feature which is key. It is the presentation, communication of the project vis-à-vis the public. We've met František Storm. We were lucky to meet him. He is a typographist, he is an artist, he is a renowned artist, and he has created a visual style, the Lobeč, and he used he was inspired by the original writing found in the brewery. It is a redesign of the historical logotype. So it's a great success. Those who know us can't think of the heritage without its visual. This is a novelty. We call our home steam engine brewery. It is the name of the company. It's on the facade, but the steam engine has disappeared in the 50s. The communists simply removed it, and all the visitors wanted to see it. So this is the heart of the heritage which was missing. We tried to get it. And I was ridiculed, you know, by the experts when I said that I want to buy a steam engine of a local make from the mid-19th century. A year ago, we were informed by our friends that there was an advertisement for a steam engine. Somebody from Rakovník wanted to get rid of the engine. So we bought it and we purchased the set of the technology of the steam engine manufactured in Tedesco, Bolzano, in Kladno, who supplied Kladno area, the mining industry, and it was predecessor of the CKD Kladno. So this is the Cornish boiler, steam engine, accumulators. The experts are telling me that this is really unique, and this is our new project, a facility, the house behind the steam engine is a cooling plant, and we will open a new plant there and include it in the tour. The Technical Museum in Brno has stated that it is probably the only preserved product of the manufacturer, so we are unique. The National Heritage Institute will apply for tangible cultural heritage status.
Ten náš web to není.
Our websites are not only a website, it is a whole system that makes bookings, accommodation, shows you the menu. It has got English mutation. We are on Facebook. You have to be on Facebook with projects like ours. Facebook has played a key role. We've got about 7,000 fans. It is a relative figure, of course, but it's a great success. All those influencers and everything, this is a must today. And we are always so happy when we are perceived as not just a brewery. We are not a pub. We want to be noticed by the experts, and we are. The Research Center of Industrial Heritage has been supporting us from the very beginning, and we are also known abroad. I keep updating these figures that show the development of our project. Own resources, 66%. We did include own work into it. That's a new feature. Own resources, our own money, then the money we were able to invest in it, including credits. We have credits and we have to repay the loans, and the revenue that the project generates, and then some European money and other money. And I have to mention the Ministry of Culture, because from the first construction season in 2009, we were subsidized by the programs of care for rural heritage zones. And every year year, the Ministry of Culture sends us some money, no high amounts, because the construction costs grow faster, but it's so good because we can plan the process and take the small steps forward. The regional government has helped us, as well as the Ministry of Environment, who has subsidized the heat pump. And Česká spořitelna, the bank, let me say why it is on the slide. In 2009, at the beginning of our project, the first European money were promised to us, but we had to make the investment first. The subsidy comes always with a delay, so we needed a loan. And I've been asking the banks for a loan, and they ridiculed me, they kicked me out, they told me this is not feasible, this is absurd. And Česká spořitelná bank was the only one who told me, we like your project and we'll give you a loan. The loan is still administered by the same gentleman. It's a wonderful cooperation. Without them, we couldn't start the project at all. And talking about money, I have to say something very important. This heritage, this renovated heritage, in the third quarter of this year, in July, August and September, has paid in the deductions or 750,000 crowns to the revenue office. So we become a good source of money, a milking cow for the state. It will be sending money to the state every month, and this investment will be a good investment for the state, for the government. You know, this brewery started a chain reaction. It will be such an advantageous project for the state. We offer jobs. In the season we need up to 20 people who cannot find vacancy in the village. They would have to commute to nearby towns, and there's this carbon footprint and so on. Simply, people in the village understood that they can also offer some accommodation to tourists. We simply develop the region. This is not only my project, this is a project of myself and my wife. Family support. It's not only the two of us, but also our children. We've got 3 children. The eldest one is 14 years old, the youngest son is 6 years old. And, well, awards were mentioned, and that's all from me. Thank you very much.